created specifically for people to work out symbols and differences in how symbols are being developed. Now it's been expanded dramatically to include more and more people who are Laban movement analysis trained. And there's, in fact, at the last ICL, there were a dozen or more people who are CMAs, many of whom are not Laban notation experts at all, who were there. And it's a way of, there were sessions that were held, movement sessions held, relating directly to the CMA concepts, to Vartenia fundamentals work, to, so it's been opened up tremendously. And it should be noted that, it is a forum, and it's the next one will be held 2017. It looks like it'll be in Beijing, China.
Wow.
So
cool.
and the last one was in Tours, France. May was there, I was there. I presented Charlotte's whole thematic bracket and got people using it in a Laban notation context. And we all performed different exercises using the symbology and the concepts. But it was a wonderful experience, and you get exposure to people from around the world who are all, similarly interested.
Yeah.
And
Well,
really
when I went, my major memory, which you may have read on Anne's 97th birthday stuff, is that Anne presented active stillness with the little rabbit ears. And I said I didn't think it was necessary because you didn't automatically have to die when you were maintaining something, and that I didn't think it was necessary, and that we should try to keep motif writing really, really simple. And she threw a shoe at me because she was so angry that I wasn't immediately just accepting it.
well, this has been true for many years. I mean, that Anne, I remember going in 1977 to ICL. Pardon? And back then, I think Anne was introducing the concept of folding. And in Europe, they didn't understand it, they didn't get it, and it got frustrating for her.
She's so passionate. That's what I love.
She is passionate, yes, but she's not the only person there. It's a large group of people, and some people are going to, when I introduced the thematic bracket, there was someone there who said, we don't need it, there's no reason
That's
for it.
usually the way one of the things that somebody comes up with.
It often happens, and it happened also for me when I was introducing 3 years ago the design drawing, another whole addition to it. And then as it was being presented, people were like discovering it. It's a learning process, and many of the concepts that get introduced there are introduced 1 year, and then 2 years later people come back and different people go, oh, that really makes sense now. I didn't believe in it at all, and now I can understand it. But it usually is a learning process from people around the world. Janos Fuges, who's from Hungary, has been talking about how people learn and how timing is represented, and he has been doing studies of it, and people just didn't get it. And then we had a movement session, and it was completely people went, oh my God, of course, that makes sense. Yeah. Because they moved it and could really understand it. But for years he was telling people, no, this is how I've done studies, and this is how people learn it, and this is why we should write it this way. And they went poo, no.
Well,
until they actually.
I want to say for history that Charlotte and I were on the original Theory Network.
That's right.
With Martha
Davis.
Theory Network with Martha Davis and several other people. There were about 5 of us, and we had exact answers to the questions that you asked, Brenda. And is having this entire system that you had to go through this step, this step, this step, you know, or
Right,
you know,
research
forwarding.
project.
And it became so complex that Charlotte's theory bow, I mean theme bow, not theory bow,
They call it
not
a
even
bracket.
bracket.
Put it a bracket. 'cause it's
one that went through because people did not have the patience to wait like 10 years to have something go through the entire process. And so I think it would be great if people could just jump to closure. But it doesn't seem to be that way. I mean, I presented all my interesting aspects on shape, and half the people said no, but 80% of the conference I presented it at, they said yes.
Yeah, it takes
And
time.
It might be that we need a different approach, because really, whether someone believes in a particular piece is maybe completely irrelevant. You know, if, you know, in the sense of sharing, it's like, this works for me, take it or leave it. Like, in a way, yeah, I mean, kind of countering a little bit, but like, you know, maybe there isn't a need to officialize anything. Maybe we just need sharing, and then people can get behind whatever they want to get behind.
Well,
But, you know.
I'm
When
going
you
to
have-
interrupt because a long time ago, May had her hand up, and then we can come to you.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with Brenton. I think now with the technology, you know, enable us to do is to share. I think in the past, the problem is the information is not allowed to spread out so easily. So, you know, person A is inventing something, person B inventing similar theory, and then it comes like, you know, two different symbols. But now with the technology blogs and, you know, websites, it's very easily to spread out this information. Oh, I come out with this thing. Why don't we do a test whether this is working or not? And then let the field decide, you know, yes, we'll keep this, or no, this doesn't work.
Right.
one of the things that we do in lava notation scores is we follow the rules that have been officially decided by ICL, and in the beginning of the score say, I am following the rules according to this text, which may not include ICL, all, you know, many of the things never got to ICL, but for example, Ann Hutchinson Guest's 4th edition, you know, this is followed in the 4th edition, and if you vary from that, you write in the glossary in the beginning saying, this is what this means. And you can come up
Right.
with your own symbols and
Right.
you can come up with those, but you glossarize them so that somebody later who reads it can understand what you mean by it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that.
You know, I toggle depending upon what application or what I'm doing between how much standardization there should be and you know and maybe sometimes there are certain people who say there shouldn't be any standardization in a way going towards a direction, and the argument that you're making, Brenton, which is to me makes a lot of sense, but at the same time there's this other strong arguments for you need standardizations, and I will, you know, in certain applications where you're communicating with somebody, and I'll give you
Right.
an example. This morning there was an interesting research project. You'll see it come up on the CMA list, I think. Somebody did a research project in which they used motif notation. And so I said, oh, neat. I want to go and read this notation and see what it is. And in the notation, you all will, I think, appreciate this.
Piece of paper.
They use this symbol. I don't know if it was this exact one, but one of the, what are we at?
GG.
GG. I don't know, it was this or the downward one, whatever it was, but it was, you know, one of the, okay?
Rising.
All right, the rising symbol. I mean, I don't know if it was sinking, right, whatever it was, but it was, you know, the unembellished symbol, which, as we know, has different interpretations depending upon which community you're in, you talk about. And I looked at it and said, and you had to, in order to understand the paper, you had to know what they were meaning. Now maybe they explained it in words, but even if they used the words, I still couldn't understand it because the words themselves had different meanings in the different communities, right? So it was